Hello, everyone. Thank you for signing on to today's Amtrak Vacations National Park Series Part 2 on Glacier National Park. I'm very excited to have all of you folks here on the presentation today, as Glacier National Park is our top selling destination here with Amtrak Vacations. I don't know if you folks knew that, but I'll go over some of the great aspects of traveling to Glacier on this presentation today. Popping up onto your screen now is a picture of me, your host, Jarrett Kettinger. Now, folks, I recognize by my picture I do look a little youthful. Believe it or not, I've actually been with Amtrak Vacations for going on 6 years now. And if any of you folks have any questions at all, don't hesitate to type them into the questions box on the side of the GoToWebinar platform. I'll answer any and all questions at the end of the presentation today. Now, folks, it is important to note that there is a special downloadable handout on the side of the GoToWebinar platform. It is free for you to take with you, and I definitely encourage it, as it is highlighting our current Countdown to Black Friday sales event. What does that mean? Well, starting today through November 29th, we are currently running a flash sale where if you purchase an Amtrak Vacations package, and a package includes hotels, sightseeing, and attractions bundled together, and you upgrade to one of the sleeper compartments on the train, and I'll go over what the sleeper accommodations are like momentarily, you can save $200 to $300 off per couple when booking with us. Very exciting times. Coming up onto your screen now is the Amtrak Vacations Systems map. Everywhere on the map you're seeing a colorful squiggly line. That's a route that Amtrak travels on. You can see the names listed there. The Empire Builder. That's the train that goes from Chicago up into Glacier. We have another such examples of the California Zephyr running from Chicago out to San Francisco. The Coast Starlight running Los Angeles to Seattle. There are so many different train opportunities for you to travel on. Everywhere you're seeing a dark blue or navy blue dot, that's a destination that Amtrak Vacations has a package that it goes to, where we incorporate the hotels, sightseeing, and attractions bundled together with the convenient and fun and exciting rail travel experience. You're seeing on the map that we also cross the border up into Canada. So while we facilitate the Amtrak Vacations, we can also cross the border to our friendly neighbors to the north in Montreal, Niagara Falls, Toronto, and Vancouver. Those are all cities where the Amtrak crosses the border. We can even do Canadian Via Rail packages, whether you want to travel on the East Coast through Toronto, Niagara Falls, Montreal, Quebec, Halifax, or cross Canada from Toronto to Vancouver and back, or into the Canadian Rockies. Amtrak Vacations is capable of doing all of it. Now, what makes Amtrak Vacations different? Well, we have a good number of reasons. Number one, it's a bucket list experience. I can't tell you how many of our past travelers said that the number one reason that they traveled with us in the first place was that it was an opportunity to check an item off of their bucket list. Freedom and flexibility. We can customize or tailor make any of our packages to fit your particular travel needs. We are hassle free. Hassle free because all you have to do to book is give us a call at 1 800 268 7252. You can see that number at the bottom of these slides and chat with one of our friendly vacation consultants that'll pick up. We are the official tour operator of Amtrak. So we're their official national vacation partner. We do city to city service. We travel from downtown city to downtown city all throughout the USA and Canada. We have over 500 different stations to choose from. And we have a little something for everyone, whether it is traveling on the train, seeing the country from the window of the train, and enjoying all the sights that go by, or going to a destination you've always wanted to venture to, or even just one moment, one opportunity on the vacation that makes the whole trip worth it. We have a little something for everyone. Now, what does customize mean? I'm going to give you a second to take a look at this slide, because there's a lot we can do in terms of customize, such as our Rails to the Grand Canyon trip, where that starts in Los Angeles. This is a hypothetical for you folks, but it starts in Los Angeles, going overnight on the train, the Southwest Chief, out to Williams, Arizona. So we'll go overnight from Los Angeles to Williams. The itinerary does 2 nights at the south rim of the canyon at lodging there, with some sightseeing at the south rim included. So 2 nights hotel at the south rim of the canyon, lodging included, all bundled together, before taking the train back from Williams overnight back to Los Angeles. Now, this itinerary, as I mentioned, just does 2 nights at the South Rim. However, imagine you wanted to spend a third night there. You wanted to increase the amount of nights stay there. No problem. We can customize any of our itineraries to fit your needs. So we could add that third night if need be. Or what if you wanted to add the third night, but also upgrade your hotel lodging at the south rim of the canyon to the historic El Tavar that sits on the canyon ledge? Again, no problem. We could take the itinerary, add a third night, and upgrade you. Then one more hypothetical. Imagine you want to do the whole thing, as I just described, but also want to do a stay in Los Angeles before or after the trip. No problem. We can take our alternative itinerary, the Los Angeles Getaway, which does 2 nights hotel accommodations with sightseeing, and add it to the package. So we would have taken the original Rails to the Grand Canyon itinerary, increased the amount of night stay, upgrade the property, and add a whole Los Angeles trip to the package, creating your own customized vacation. Show of hands, and by hands I mean typing yes or no into the questions box on the side of the GoToWebinar panel. Does everybody kind of get what I say now when I say we can customize trips? Does that make a little bit more sense to you folks? All right, good. I'm seeing some yeses come across. That's good. Oh, lots of yeses coming across. Beautiful. So you folks are all on the same wavelength as me. That's a good thing. Now, packing for the train. We always get questions. How much should I be prepared to bring on the train with me? Well, you are allowed to bring 2 carry-ons of up to 50 pounds each and 2 check bags of up to 50 pounds each, and that's per person, and it's completely free. We always get the questions as well. When should I get to the train station ahead of my travel? Well, we suggest getting to the station roughly 45 minutes to an hour ahead of time. It's not like the airports and the airlines where you have to get there an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours if you're flying international. You can get to the station 45 minutes to an hour ahead of time and still comfortably board the train without any worry. In addition to the special lead up to Black Friday sale event, I do want to make sure you folks are aware we have some other big special offers we're currently running. You can find these on our promotions and specials page on our AmtrakVacations.com website. You can see the link to the website or the how to get there on the slide below. But we have some great itineraries, some of them round trip, some of them to destinations such as Glacier Park, Seattle, New Orleans, etc., where you can save certain amount of discounts in addition to the special sale that we are currently running. Always feel free to sign on the website and click on the specials and promotions page as we are changing the specials week to week. Now, folks, let's start talking about Glacier. So I hope all of you folks are, as we like to say here, all aboard as we jump in and start talking about the subject of the day. And the first package we're going to highlight is the simple Glacier National Park getaway. As they say, keep it simple, stupid. So let's go over the simple one. This itinerary, as you can see, goes round trip from Chicago. The reason you're going to see a lot of the packages traveling out of Chicago is that it is the major hub of Amtrak. Now, you might be living somewhere that's not near or not in Chicago. Not a problem. We have over 500 different stations to choose from. So depending on where you're going, you may still have to travel at some point through Chicago. However, we can always get you from your most local station. This itinerary, however, does start in Chicago, going overnight on the Empire Builder. The Empire Builder going north past the Great Lakes through the northern plains and into Big Sky country up in Montana and up to Glacier National Park. Now, the reason that Glacier Park is so popular to travel to by way of Amtrak is that from the door of the Glacier Park train station to the door of the Glacier National Park Lodge, it's a simple walk path, a simple 209-step walk path, point to point. Easy to go from one station to the door of the lodge. Now, during the 3 nights we have you staying in Glacier, we include 2 sightseeing tour opportunities. The first one is the Two Medicine Valley Boat Cruise, which is a very scenic, very serene cruise out onto one of Glacier's many lakes. They have like thousands of lakes up there. We send you out onto Two Medicine Valley Lake. Now, it's important to note that not only is it a boat cruise, but you can also opt into a ranger-led hike following the cruise. Does that sound interesting to anybody? Has anyone jumped on the presentation today because they want to get out into nature and explore the national parks? Show of hands, yes or no? I'm personally a big hiker, but I would love to do a ranger-led hike through Glacier or really through any of the parks. Now, that ranger-led hike is complimentary, so there is no cost to it. You are free to jump on when you do the tour. You don't need to let us know ahead of time. So feel free to do that. It is included and complimentary. Also, we do the Big Sky Circle Tour, which is a fully guided day tour that travels all throughout the park, going over the Going to the Sun Road, down St. Mary Valley with plenty of wildlife viewing. Glacier Park is known particularly for the wild goats that live there, but you also may get to see some hawks, eagles, elk, bears, but from a safe distance. And the Big Sky Circle Tour is done on those red buses. Is anyone here familiar with the historic red buses in Glacier Park? They have the open retracting roofs that you can quite literally stick your head right up through the roof of the vehicle as you're traveling through the park. As they were built in the 1930s and 40s, the drivers, known as jammers, are occasionally forced to jam the brakes. That's how they got their name. And the jammers have a funny anecdote. They say that if they have the same exact amount of people on the tour at the end of the day that they had when they were departing to start the tour at the beginning of the day, they have permission to run the tour the next day. Kind of funny. It's their little anecdote, but I do like telling that story as a jammer driver told that once to me. So that, folks, is our Glacier Park getaway round trip from Chicago. It's arguably one of our most popular packages because it's a simple 3-night stay at the park with 2 days of sightseeing, and we also include one dinner at the park lodge as well. Now, our other very popular itinerary is the Glacier National Park Express. This is one of our independent rail journeys that visits not just one destination, such as Glacier, but actually highlights 3 destinations total covered on the trip. It does 2 nights in Chicago with a sightseeing architecture cruise and dinner at Chicago's oldest Italian restaurant, before going overnight on the Empire Builder out to Glacier for the 3 nights in Glacier with all these same accommodations and inclusions I just mentioned on the getaway, before finishing the route overnight to Seattle. So as I mentioned, you will still get the Two Medicine Valley Boat Cruise as well as the Big Sky Circle Tour. And as I mentioned, you will also start from Chicago. But in Seattle, we will also include sightseeing such as a city tour and admission to the Space Needle and Chihuly Garden and Glass exhibit. What's really nice is that sightseeing tour will actually drop you off in the Seattle City Center, and that is where the Space Needle is. So you can get on the tour, travel all throughout the city, visiting Pike's Place Market, going to a overlook point to get pictures of Mount Rainier, traveling throughout the city and hearing about the history. And then when the tour is over, it will drop you off basically at the base of the Space Needle, where you will then be able to utilize your admission. That, folks, is the Glacier National Park Express, highlighting Chicago, Glacier Park, and Seattle, all on the Empire Builder route. We also have the Glacier National Park Getaway and Mount Rainier Discovery. So as you can kind of see by the map, it basically combines the Glacier Park getaway that we mentioned towards the beginning of the presentation with a 2-night stay in Seattle and an opportunity to actually go out and physically visit Mount Rainier. On the previous itinerary, I mentioned you get to go to an overlook point for picture taking opportunity of Mount Rainier that's in the city, but you see it from afar. Here, this itinerary actually will combine 2 national parks, Glacier National Park and Mount Rainier National Park. So it starts in Chicago, goes overnight out to Glacier. Here you can see just one of the many beautiful pictures of Glacier with the lake in the background, with a mountain coming right out of it. It's so beautiful. You can see the little flowers in the foreground. Tell me, folks, are any of you excited to go out to Glacier and get out into the national parks? I know I am. I loved it when I visited. I will definitely be going back with my family later on in life, and this is your opportunity to go out there as well. We will send you out to Seattle following the 3 nights in Glacier. And you'll spend admission to the Seattle Space Needle in Seattle, as well as a full day trip out to Mount Rainier, which will include a guided tour of the park, as well as, I believe, a wine and cheese reception will be held out amongst nature as well. So you'll get to go visit Mount Rainier after going to Glacier. So you get more bang for your buck with 2 national parks all in one. Next up, we have the Grand National Parks with Yellowstone, Yosemite, and Glacier. So this will actually get you to visit 3 national parks all in one. This starts from Chicago on the California Zephyr. Just so you folks know, the California Zephyr is regularly voted the #1 most scenic railroad on the Amtrak system. Heading out to Salt Lake City, so you'll travel through the heartland of the country, literally through the Denver Rocky Mountains and out to Salt Lake City. Arriving in Salt Lake City for a 1-night stay before transferring up to Yellowstone for a 2-night stay in Yellowstone with a full day lower loop tour of Yellowstone National Park. Following the stay in Yellowstone, you'll transfer back down, finish the route from Salt Lake City to San Francisco on the California Zephyr, traveling through Nevada, past the Sierra Nevada mountain ranges, and out into San Francisco for a 2-night stay in San Francisco with a full day tour to Yosemite National Park. After that, you'll take the Coast Starlight up through Northern California, through the Cascade Mountain Range, and up into Seattle for a 1-night stay in Seattle. And then here you will finally travel overnight on the Empire Builder and get 3 full days in Glacier Park included, and then finishing the big loop back to Chicago on the Empire Builder. Once you're out in Salt Lake City, we do provide dinner at the Roof Restaurant, which is one of the most famous restaurants in Salt Lake City. It's on the 10th floor of the Joseph Smith Memorial Building, and it overlooks basically all the city with a 180-degree view of the Temple Square, the mountains beyond the city, and the food itself is a 5-star gourmet buffet. It's delicious. From there, you'll head up to Yellowstone for a 2-night stay in Yellowstone with a lower loop tour of the park. What's really nice is that you will get to see the major geothermal features of the park, such as the beautiful hot springs. Old Faithful, you're guaranteed to see Old Faithful erupt at least once. And you will get to see the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone as featured in the slide right here, which is a majestic, fast-rushing waterfall that runs into a fast-running river that's cut a giant canyon throughout the park. You'll head out for a 2-night stay in San Francisco, and we include a full day tour to Yosemite National Park by way of San Francisco. So how that'll operate is it departs San Francisco in the morning, heads outside of the city and into Yosemite for a morning tour that'll go to several overlook points for picture taking opportunity. You are then actually dropped off in Yosemite for 3 hours to explore the park on your own before being transferred back to San Francisco at the end of the day. You'll head up to Seattle for a night's stay there with admission to the Space Needle. And then you'll head out to Glacier National Park where you get the Big Sky Circle Tour and the Two Medicine Valley boat cruise. And again, that Big Sky Tour does travel on a full 8-hour day, touring through the park, stopping at the historic Isaac Walton Inn. Like I mentioned, you do head over the Going to the Sun Road, and you're basically guaranteed wildlife viewing along the way. So that itinerary hits 3 major national parks: Yellowstone, Yosemite, and Glacier National Park, all on one big trip. And then, last but certainly not least, is the Glacier National Park and Canadian Rockies by rail. This itinerary actually came out specifically from the demand of travelers such as yourself. I was actually at an event with a colleague where we were there amongst a lot of potential vacationers, and we had so many potential clients coming up to us and asking, where is the itinerary that combines Glacier Park and then heads up into the Canadian Rockies? At the time, it didn't exist, but we had so many people come to us asking that we immediately returned back to the office and told them, hey, you need to create this itinerary. Starting in Chicago, going overnight on the Empire Builder, it heads out to Glacier Park for a 2-night stay there with the Big Sky Circle Tour and the Two Medicine Valley boat cruise before finishing the Empire Builder route out to Seattle, heading up to Vancouver for a 2-night stay in Vancouver before going overnight from Vancouver on the Via Rail system up into Jasper. For a 1-night stay in Jasper, transfers down to Banff for a 2-night stay in Banff with a mountains, lakes, and waterfalls tour of Banff and Lake Louise, and then a transfer down to Calgary to finish off the trip. As mentioned before, we include the 2 main itineraries of things to do in Glacier. In Vancouver, during the stay there, we include both the hop-on, hop-off sightseeing tour and a admission to the Vancouver Lookout Tower. In Jasper, we have you traveling out on the Icefields Parkway excursion vehicles that'll go over the frozen glaciers, actually delivering you to be able to walk on a glacier. So they're these giant vehicles with treads on them that lift the vehicle high in the air so they can easily move over the frozen ice fields. And this will also serve as a transfer for you to get down to Banff. During the 2 nights in Banff, we have admission to the Glacier Skywalk in Discovery Center, as well as a mountains, lakes, and waterfalls tour of Banff and Lake Louise. So that, folks, is the Glacier National Park and the Canadian Rockies by rail. All right, folks. Now, we don't just do national parks. We have alternative other options such as New Orleans, Vancouver, New York City, Washington, D.C., all of which are available through us. So if you did want to just do a major city destinational trip, we can cover that as well. Let me refer to our onboard accommodations and go over that with you because I'm sure you'd like to see what some of them are, such as the coach accommodations, which are 2 big plush seats facing forward. They recline at a 45-degree angle with a leg rest that'll kick up, a tray table that will fold down, plenty of room above head for luggage, outlets to charge devices in. And folks, you're going to see the big picture windows, which is standard for traveling on the Amtrak. One of the major benefits, of course, is seeing the country from the window of the train. So that is an Amtrak standard. Now, the next step up is the sleeper roomette, which is its own cabin on the train, which has its door that will shut and lock, blinds that will go over the windows for privacy, 2 big comfy seats that face each other. At night, everything folds down, as you saw by the diagram, to bunk-style sleeping. Now, you're probably looking at the diagram and the pictures and saying, I don't see a bathroom included within this cabin. You would be correct. The roomette's bathrooms are down the hall. There's 3 to 4 bathrooms to every roomette car, and only those staying in the roomette car have access to those bathrooms. There's also a roomette car attendant that's constantly going and cleaning everything up, so everything is spick and span, clean, up to Bristol fashion. But if you did want your own private bathroom and shower in the room itself, the next level up is the sleeper bedroom with a big cabin with a long couch, a big captain's chair, a big picture window to enjoy the sights out of. Everything still folds down to bunk style sleeping, but it has its own private bathroom and shower in the room itself, and it can fit 2 adults and a small child. Now, I will hesitate to say that the child has to be 40 pounds or less. That is the Amtrak guideline. So it has to be a legitimate child, can't be like an adult or a teenager. But if you were parents traveling with a child or what have you, that can be done in the bedroom. Dining on the train is included whenever you have a sleeper cabin. And there has been a lot of speculation about changes or the removal of the dining on the train. So let me go over what is actually happening, because there's been a lot of negative speculations or thoughts that the Amtrak is just removing the services. So let me cover what is actually going on. For the superliner trains, which are the double-decker trains that basically travel from Chicago and or the Midwest to the West, the long-distance trains, such as the Empire Builder we covered during the presentation, the California Zephyr that was covered, the Coast Starlight that runs Los Angeles to Seattle and vice versa. Those are all superliners. Nothing is changing with them whatsoever. The meal services are remaining. The dining cars are remaining. There is no changes to any of it. Where the changes are happening is on the Viewliner trains, which are Midwest to East, say Chicago to New York or Boston or Washington, D.C. On those trains, the dining cars are being removed. However, they are being replaced by lounge cars, brand new lounge cars that have been built, that will still service the meals for those in the roomettes or bedrooms. Those who are not traveling in the roomettes or bedrooms on those trains will only have access to the cafe car. They will not have access to the lounges. So the new option for dining on the Viewliners is either to have dinner, breakfast, lunch, what have you, in the lounge, or if you simply wanted the meals served in your cabin, they will do that too. Now, the dining cars are being removed. The lounge cars are really nice, brand new. They're also coming with brand new menu options. The menu options I've seen look very tasty, look very great options, such as chicken parmesan, tacos, braised short rib will be the new options for meals on the Viewliners. Again, on the Superliners, everything is remaining the same. Now, to do a little research, feel free to sign on to AmtrakVacations.com. You can click on the Destinations tab. A bar will drop down with East Coast packages, West Coast packages, rail-in sales, all of the above. You could also feel free to sign on to our trip planning page, which has a drop down with options for ordering brochures, baggage guidelines, meals, what have you. All right. So we did have a couple of people asking about everyday discounts. We have them. Seniors 65 and over receive a 10% discount off the base rail portion of the ticket. Children aged 2 to 12 receive half off, 50% off the base fare of the ticket. And then any active military personnel, spouses, and dependents will additionally receive a 10% discount on the rail portion of an Amtrak ticket. Now, let me ask you, and please answer if you can by typing yes or no into the questions box on the side of the GoToWebinar panel. Do we have any veterans on the presentation today? All right, I'm seeing some yeses come across. Let me ask you, what branch of the military did you serve in? Feel free to type that in as well, because I am seeing some yeses come across. I'm seeing Army, I'm seeing Navy, I'm seeing Air Force. Okay, excellent, folks. Well, one, thank you for your service. And I know the slide itself right now, the lists active military personnel. We are now spreading that discount to all veterans. So if you served in the military, then you can receive a veterans discount. You do not have to currently be an active military personnel to obtain the discount. Simply let us know that you are a veteran. How to book? Simple ways to book. You can feel free to give us a call at 1-800-268-7252. Visit our website at amtrakvacations.com. And then you could also alternatively, if you didn't want to give us a call and work with one of our consultants, if you have a local travel agent that you like working with, feel free to have them give us a call and they can work with us as well. We do that all the time as well. Again, a recap, we do have some special offers we are running now. So you can see some of the options there, such as New Orleans, Seattle, packages to Yosemite National Park, Glacier Park, etc. We are currently in our countdown to Black Friday sale event. Again, to cover what that is, if you book a package from today through November 29th, and the package, again, must be a hotel, sightseeing, and attractions bundled together with the rail experience, and then you upgrade to a roomette or a bedroom, you can save $200 to $300 off per couple. We have a free downloadable handout on the presentation today about the Black Friday sale, so you should feel free to download that and take that along with you. And then I'm about to answer your questions, so maybe you can answer one of mine. Are any of you folks interested in any specific rail vacation or destination? Such as, are you interested to travel out to Glacier? Or did you like one of the Glacier packages? Or was there another destination that you were interested? If so, feel free to type where, and if you know when you might like to go, into the questions box on the side of the GoToWebinar panel. Now, I do see some questions that have come through, so let me see if I can answer some of them for you. Someone asked if they could get a paper version of the Amtrak Vacation Systems map. They said that they were trying to take a screenshot of it, but it's just too small to do so. So we can send you a map, but it would have to be in the brochure because that is where the maps are. They're right on the inside cover of the brochure. We can absolutely mail you a brochure, and then you can have the map readily available to you. Someone asked on the trips to Glacier, is it only from Chicago round trip or could it be round trip from Milwaukee? Absolutely. In fact, we could do the trips round trip from Milwaukee. That is possible. Someone asked how long the hike is off of the Two Medicine Valley boat cruise. I believe it's like a 2-hour hike, 2 to 3 hours. I don't think it's very, very rugged of a hike, but I believe it's around 2 to 3 hours. Someone asked if we offer a military discount. That was before I answered, but the answer is, of course, yes, both active and now veterans as well. Someone asked about when the veterans discount start. So it did start about a month and a half ago. If you have some reservations or whatnot that did not get the veterans discount applied, feel free to call in and chat with our guest relations team. They would be able to get that applied to your reservation. We have lots of people interested to go to Glacier, some who want to do Glacier from Denver, Grand Canyon in May, Glacier National Park on a 4G trip, Glacier and Points West. Does the Canadian Rockies trip return to Chicago? So it does not. It ends in Calgary, which is a real easy city to fly out of. We could reverse the whole trip and send you back to Chicago. That is a possibility. Most will just end in Calgary and go from there. But it is possible to reverse the trip and go all the way back to Chicago should you want us to. What lodge do we use in Glacier National Park? Very simply, it's the Glacier National Park Lodge. That's the name of it. That's the lodge that's about 209 steps from the train station to the door of the lodge. Someone asked, can you book a trip to head out to Seattle and then leave it open-ended for about a week if, say, you're visiting friends or family. That absolutely can be done. That's not a problem at all. And folks, I want to say thank you for joining us. That looks like it was the last question to come through. But unless any of you have any other additional questions, but other than that, I just want to say thank you for signing on. Thank you for joining us. I hope you all have a great day.